TJ the Amazing Atheist made a video recently talking about death and what happens when people react to someone they love being taken away from them. And he poses a hypothetical situation, which is not too uncommon, to say the least, where the religious members of the community, when they lose a member of their family or a close friend or a lover or something like that, they would say, well, their soul is at peace now. They are with God and they will no longer have to suffer or anything like that. As a non-believer like myself, I am put at a crossroads, and it's very difficult for me to decide what I should do. Should I do what I think would make them feel better, which is to agree with them and say, yep, their soul is at rest now, and God is with them, and everything will be fine and dandy? Or should I do what I think is the more honest thing, and say, no, I don't believe that to be true. I believe that your mother or your father or your brother or your friend or your wife, they're dead. They're gone. They're not going to come back. They live on, maybe in your memories, maybe in the videos and pictures you've taken together, and in the moments you've shared with each other, but they're not coming back. Speaking as someone who is currently an atheist now, but was part of Christianity at one point, I could say for certain that death was something that scared me a lot. I was very scared as to what happened after I died. Like, would God find me to be a very bad boy and send me to hell where I'll roast for eternity? Would I see the rest of my family ever again? The family that I never really either got a chance to meet or know very well? Like, religion really kind of taught me that I would see my family again. I would be at peace. Everything would be okay as long as I kept believing. As long as I had faith in God, my soul would end up in heaven. And to be honest, I think that is the easier option to believe. Whether it's right or wrong, whether it's true or not, is still up in the air at this point. Speaking to the religious people in my audience, I know I've offended a lot of you in the past, and I'm not trying to offend you here, honestly, because I'm just trying to be objective. There is no evidence to suggest that there is life after death. You know those people who say, oh, well, I know so-and-so who spoke of a post-traumatic experience where they saw the light. Yeah, we call that a lack of oxygen to the brain. That happens a lot. There's no evidence to suggest that there's a heaven or a hell or even a God to send us there. So if there's no evidence to suggest that, yes, there still might be a heaven or a hell, there still might be a God, but for all intents and purposes, beyond any reasonable doubt, we can assume that there is no life after death. And to say otherwise, I think, is honestly deluding yourself. Oh, Truth, you're so heartless. Can't you understand that these people are suffering through a lot, considering that they've lost a family member or a friend or a lover? Yeah, I understand that. And I understand why some people might need to rely on religion or a belief in a God in order to be their emotional crutch. But I know that if it were me, I would rather live life truthfully. Not deluding myself of something that has never been proven to be true. And yes, I would rather be miserable and live in reality than be happy and live in a fantasy. It's not just a matter of life and death here either. I think it applies to a whole variety of situations. For example, if someone was addicted to alcohol or drugs and they went to Alcoholics Anonymous and they found God, well, what am I supposed to say now? God doesn't exist? Well, I'm glad that they've weaned themselves off of their addiction. So, really, what is the morally right thing to do here? It's not quite so clear. And to be honest, this is one reason why I really sometimes dislike religion. I know it's saved a lot of people, it's made them happy, and maybe some suicidal people may not have committed suicide otherwise, but like, I don't like the idea of essentially relying on a fantasy in order to save yourself from emotional turmoil. Because not only is it unstable, but it just morally doesn't sync with me. And honestly, to me, relying on religion as an emotional crutch like that, especially with regards to something like the death of a family member, is no better than relying on alcohol, in my opinion. Sure, both will make you happy for a temporary time, and both will help you stop thinking about all the sad and terrible things that you're going through right now, but at what cost? At the cost of your emotional health, sometimes even at the cost of your physical health. And ultimately, you are not facing your own demons, which I can't agree with. But ultimately, I think that in that situation, if one of my religious friends or family members came up to me and said, so and so I knew and who I was close to died recently, and now I think their soul is with God and at peace. I think the best of both worlds, trying to make them happy and trying to be honest with yourself, the only way to make both happen is to not say anything at all. May the truth always be heard.